Hey TCS TV viewers, it's Dave and Evelyn from the camera store.
And we are doing some street photography today because we have the brand new Ricoh GR III.
So we're gonna hit the rails of Calgary Transit and see what we can come up with.
All right, so the Ricoh GR III is the new generation of the Ricoh GR camera system, and they've made a few upgrades to it, and this camera really has quite a following.
I'd say almost a cult following. Not everybody knows about it, but everybody in the know, in their street shooters, seem to have this higher praise for this camera.
Yeah.
So it's a fixed 28mm 2.8 lens, which lends itself to great street shooting capabilities, but it's also in this sort of stealth black appearance. So train should be here at any minute. Let's grab it and let's see what we can come up with.
Let's see what it does.
We just got on the train, and the GR3 has an APS-C size sensor. This is a very big sensor for such a small compact camera. What this means is it's going to give you a little shallower depth of field and better low light performance, much better than most point and shoot compact cameras or of course cell phones.
So when you're on a train, it's a really good thing that this does have image stabilization, and if you were standing as still as you could probably get about 4 stops of image stabilization. That's what they're advertising. But in reality, in a situation like this, you're probably only going to get closer to maybe 2 stops.
So we just got off the train at the Westbrook station, and this is Calgary's, I think, only true underground station, and it's very cool. Some stations are above ground or even, 30, 40 feet above the ground. So this is kind of unique for Calgary. And I really like it. Now we've had a chance to play around with the autofocus in this camera, and there's a few features I really like about it. First off, we have tracking focus. We have the ability to set my subject of what I want, and it's going to follow it wherever it moves within the frame. And I can do that either through the shutter button, or I can touch the screen where I want it to focus and it'll hold that. Now something that I've been using a lot today is snap focus. This allows me to customize the camera to a certain focal distance, so I don't have to wait for the camera to focus and that little bit of hesitation to find focus before it snaps the shutter. Right now I just point, click, fires right away. This is a great feature for shooting street and being kind of stealthy.
So how'd that work for you?
Not too bad. So I used snap focus and I dragged my shutter a little bit and I got an okay shot of the train.
Yeah, I'm finding in this low light situation, regular autofocus and the tracking autofocus is really struggling.
Yeah, in the lower light in the station here, I'm not blown away by the autofocus performance on here and the tracking focus especially. Yeah, but that's what snap focus is for.
Well, but I don't know, in the low light situations for snap focus, you want to stop down. You want to use like f5.6 and f8, and in lighting conditions like that, this isn't going to be ideal either.
Well, I think with snap focus, you're going to sort of train yourself to get the best results. You're going to find, I might start at 2 meters or 2.5 meters at f8, so I got a sort of big wiggle room to kind of work with, but in time, as I want a shallower depth of field that this camera can give you, I'm going to train myself to walk to the right distance and make the shot work for me. So,
yeah, I guess so. It's kind of like overcoming that limitation that you'd have. Another thing is, if you're a manual focuser, this you'd have to use the back dial. There's no front manual focusing ring. So I guess the snap focus in a way kind of gives you that same experience. And really that's what this camera is all about, having a fun shooting experience.
Yeah, and so I am enjoying it for that, but yeah, I need more time with this camera to get really comfortable with it.
Now in terms of resolution, the Ricoh GR II, the previous model, had a 16 megapixel sensor. So you're getting 12-bit RAW files out of it. Now this camera has a 24 megapixel sensor and you're getting up to 14-bit RAWs, and that's in the Adobe DNG RAW format.
So we've been hanging out in the trains and shooting a bunch of people, and it's been a lot of fun. And the face detect works really well, but you have to keep in mind face detect only works in single shot, not in continuous.
Our train is coming, so we're gonna hop back on the train and see where the road takes us. I've never actually been on this line before, so we were just talking about the metering modes on this camera. It does have multi-segmented metering, and one really cool feature is that it has highlight weighted metering.
And what this does is it protects the highlights when you're exposing something, and it's working for those rather than averaging out the entire exposure, so you don't get any clipping of your highlights.
Sirocco Station. Doors
I don't even know where Sirocco is. I love having the level if you're shooting something symmetrical.
It's a simple little feature that adds a lot of functionality to this camera, I find.
And it's on by default, it looks like. Yeah, which is great. But we have an 18.3 millimeter lens on this camera, giving you a 28 millimeter equivalent f2.8. This new simplified lens actually makes the whole package a little bit smaller, but it is a really nice lens. It has 9 rounded aperture blades, and you're gonna see a really nice bokeh with that.
Yeah, no, that's a nice choice for this style of camera. I prefer a 35 millimeter myself for my own shooting style, so I've had to readjust a little bit to get the framing I like, but the more I use this camera, the more I'm getting the framing tighter to what I want and finding and standing in the right spot to get the shot that I want.
Gotta walk a little further sometimes. But if you are someone that wants the 35 millimeter, you can actually go into the crop mode. So there's a 35 millimeter crop mode or a 50 millimeter crop mode. You just lose some of your resolution if you do that, and it's basically the same as cropping in post.
Yeah, now keep in mind, if you want to go a little bit wider than that, there is an attachment for that.
Yeah, the WG4, it gives you that adapter. You do have to buy it separately, but it's a nice option if you want to add that to your kit.
The only thing is it changes the dynamic of this camera drastically.
We're heading back to see some more familiar territory back downtown on the inbound train.
Yes, yeah, can't wait to get back downtown. This has been kind of a fun adventure.
Yes.
So this brings us to the next point. This camera has the ability to focus within 6 centimeters of the camera.
Yeah, I think that's about 6 centimeters. Hold on. There we go. Very nice.
Okay, this is rather awkward, but it's a very cool feature to have in a camera like this.
Yeah.
You're prone to carry this camera around with you everywhere, and what they've kind of designed it for, and having the ability to shoot macro is a really cool feature.
Yeah, I really like to get close, and in a pinch, you can get within that 6 centimeter range, and so it's nice to get those little detail shots. I also love that this has a built-in ND filter mode that gives you 2 stops. Another thing that we like about this camera that the GR II didn't have is a dust reduction system. Now, the GR II was kind of notorious for having some dust issues, even though it's a fixed closed system.
Yeah, and in that case, you'd have to send it back to Pentax and Ricoh to have them clean the sensor for you. That was a real pain.
Oh, that's cute. It tells you how many photos you shot today. Here, Brendan, I'll show you. Look.
Wow.
You know it's cold in Calgary when they put heaters in the bus shelters. But it's pretty nice and toasty.
No, I don't mind it at all. So how are you finding the controls and the buttons on this camera?
The dials are nice. They're really tactile, and I like that it has a locking mechanism. But the buttons are a little bit mushy.
I agree with you there.
Kind of spongy.
Now I've set my camera up so the function button puts me into the snap focus modes, and I found myself in the snap focus mode without actually wanting to be. And so it's caught me off guard a few times today.
Yeah, and it's kind of odd because the body itself, it feels so sturdy, but having the mushy buttons does kind of take away a little bit of that high quality feel to it. One of the major weaknesses for the Ricoh GR system has always been video, and this is no exception. Yes, you can shoot 1080 HD at 60, 30, and 24p, and now you have the ability to use 3-axis image stabilization to smooth out your video. But otherwise, I mean, it's not really a video camera, and they don't even have a video mode on the dial. To get into the video, you have to actually hit a button on the side of the camera that's kind of discreet and almost like a little afterthought. But I guess it's nice that you have video on this camera. But let's be real here. I mean, this camera really is truly for photographers. And I actually talked to a photographer that's been using the Ricoh system forever. He's probably one of the cult members of the Ricoh system, and his name's Julian Ferreira. He's an owner of the camera store, but he's also a photographer known in the fashion as well as the movie industry. And more recently, he's actually been shooting a lot of square black and white photos, and he's known on Instagram for his amazing Western prairie shots. You recently picked up a Ricoh GR III.
I did.
And of course, you have access to every camera you can possibly imagine. Why did you choose the Ricoh GR III?
Primarily the size was the first thing that attracted me. The fact that it's an APS-C size sensor, which is massive, and the high quality you get from this tiny little camera makes it a perfect backup.
Now, what is it about the focusing system that you like for on-the-go photography?
Super fast. It's got a feature called a snap focus, which means there's no hesitation. I can literally fire it, and as fast as I press a button, it captures the picture. So that's really what I need, especially for guys like this.
Yeah. Now, of course, Ricoh isn't the most popular brand for modern digital cameras, but Ricoh's not a new brand, certainly for cameras.
No.
What's your history with Ricoh?
Ironically, I had a small film camera. I still have it to this day, pretty much this size, which was a film camera that I picked up almost 30 years ago, and I carried that around with me for the same reason. It was a very high quality lens, fixed prime, and very fast.
the photos that Julian has taken with this camera speak volumes as far as the image quality goes, and it kind of keeps up to that standards. I mean, you shoot with Hasselblad, recently you've been shooting with the Nikon Z7, and now these images are showing up in your collection. And I mean, you're seeing really nice quality.
They integrate so well. Really, if I threw a whole stack of pictures on the floor in front of you, you would have a hard time sorting them out.
So you'd recommend this camera for people that are traveling, shooting landscapes?
Perfect camera.
Horseback riding.
Horseback riding. Anytime you need a high quality camera that you can just slip away.
What are you doing, Dave?
Shooting a picture of
Oh,
my...
cool, it's a little rooster. Let's talk a little bit about the customizability on this camera. Now, it is a step back from the GR II, but I think that's okay. I mean, as Julian said, it's a really nice, simple camera system. There are 3 user settings on the dial, so if you have different people shooting the camera or if you have different preferences depending on your subject matter, you can save those on the dial. There's also some customizability of the function button on the rear of the camera. You can adjust the front and rear control dials as well as the 4-way controller, so you can customize all that just to shoot your particular way of shooting.
So the CPA rating as far as battery life on the GR3 is about 200, and I'm finding that's pretty accurate. We've gone through a battery and a half today already. But it is USB-C charging, and that's a welcome addition. If I have an external battery pack and when I'm not using the camera, I can charge the battery. Now, the USB-C port is adaptive, so if you want to run HDMI out of it, you can through an adapter.
So how come you don't have a strap on yours?
I decided to go no strap today, but I am impressed with this camera that it actually has 3 attachment points for a strap if you wanted to put something on. I've never seen that on a point shoot style camera before.
Yeah, and if you actually do put your strap on your camera, it can save you in a lot of situations. I think I've been saved from dropping this a few times today.
Now, the design of this camera is very minimalistic, and I appreciate that because it's just so appealing to look at. And the controls and the dials are really well laid out. I love the fact that it's a tiny little lock button here for the mode dial. You can rotate it very quickly and easily, and you know you're in the mode and you're locked in.
Yeah, I also really like the grip on this camera. For something that is so small and compact, it's nice that it has a little bit of meat to it and that it has a nice curvature for your thumb. It feels really good in your hand.
Yeah, so this is a lighter weight camera than you might expect when you pick it up, but it's very solid. It's a magnesium alloy frame. Now, a couple little things you notice, it does have a hot shoe on the top there if you wanted to put a flash on there or another accessory, but
Yeah, you could add a viewfinder.
I like keeping it nice and smooth.
Yeah.
I like it nice and small.
No, fair enough. I mean, I wish I had a viewfinder, and there are some viewfinders that you can get to add to this. I kept finding myself looking for one, especially because it has been a little bit brighter today. Now with the hot shoe, that's important because they actually took the flash out of this camera, so you don't have a fill flash at all.
Yeah, and one other design which I usually complain about is that this one doesn't have an articulating screen. I'm a big fan of cameras with articulating screens. This does not have it, and I don't mind. For this particular camera, I seem to be okay with it. It just adds to the stealthiness of it and the whole compact size.
In keeping pretty standard with most compact cameras, it has one SD card slot, but one thing that's kind of unique is that it has a 2 GB internal memory.
So just keep in mind, if you're going to lend your camera to a friend, make sure you format the memory card and the internal memory.
I think the true reason why people go with a Ricoh GR camera is because it produces really amazing image quality. I mean, this compared to say a phone or other compact cameras will really blow you away.
Yeah, now a big reason for that is the lens, and it's paired really well with this sensor. So typically with the prime lens, we don't get the complexities of a zoom lens with more glass and everything else. We're finding that the edge-to-edge sharpness is very good and the overall sharpness is really nice.
Yeah, and that paired with the 14-bit RAW files gives you that much more information to work with. And what Julian was talking about is being able to really push the blacks as well as the whites. And so if you are someone that likes to shoot for monochromatic images, you're really going to like the look of these files.
We had a great time exploring the C-Train in our own city.
Yeah, it's kind of fun being a tourist in your own city, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, now the GR3 I think is a fantastic camera to do this with, and a camera you're going to take with you everywhere. It encourages you to do that. It was very stealthy, it was easy to carry around, and the images we're seeing out of it look really nice.
Yeah, and I think image quality is really the biggest factor of this camera because you want to be able to make sure that what you're using in a compact camera is going to be better than what you're going to get out of a phone.
Yeah.
There was a few things that we were disappointed in.
Yeah, I mean, battery life, of course, is something that needs to be addressed. I do like having an electronic viewfinder as an option, especially on a brighter sunny day.
Yes.
And I do like an articulating screen, but I think that all lends itself to the compact size of this camera.
Yeah, now the other thing is if they do eventually upgrade the autofocus system so that you can get face detection along with continuous, autofocus. That's going to really improve the usage for doing street photography of people on the go.
Yeah, it's going to make for a very compelling camera when they address some of these little issues. But right now, I mean, how much did you enjoy using the camera?
You know, I really liked it. I like the feel of it, and I'm starting to really understand why Ricoh users really love this system. I was a little skeptical just because it is such a simplistic design and there's no bells and whistles to it. Once you really use it, you get comfortable, it kind of puts you back into that purist photographer mindset.
We might be joining a cult.
Maybe, but well, let us know what you think of the Ricoh GR III by commenting below.
Make sure you follow us both on Instagram.
Yes, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so we can catch you again real soon. See ya!